to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. I have a little side business of baking at work, and I've had several requests for walnut snowballs. And it's an older recipe that's in this cookbook, and it's a Christmas cookie book. But basically, this recipe is similar to like a Russian tea cake or a Mexican wedding cookie. But rather than pecans, which are common in those versions, this one has walnuts. And for a while, we had lots and lots of walnuts, so I was looking for recipes to use them up. And this is one of them. And it got really popular. So I had people pre-order them from me. So anyway, what I'm showing you is actually a double batch, but what I will read off to you is the ingredients for a single batch. So, a single batch would take 1 cup of soft butter. So for a double batch, it's twice that, so that's a whole pound of butter.
And how many sticks is that, by the way?
4 sticks.
4 sticks of butter.
Yes, the universal standard for butter, well, at least in the U.S., is 1/4 pound sticks. And this is 3/4 of a cup of sugar for a double batch, but this for the single would be 6 tablespoons. And this is where your math comes in handy. 6 tablespoons double is 12. There's 16 tablespoons in a cup. Therefore, a 3/4 of a cup would equal 12 tablespoons. So, for those of you who say, I'll never use all this math, you sometimes, have to do calculations in your head when you're doing recipes doubled. Because older recipes aren't online necessarily, and you can't use a recipe calculator. So you're going to get the margarine, God forbid, margarine, butter and sugar nice and whipped together. And I like to leave my butter out for several hours or overnight before I make a recipe. So if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of baking, I will get out a package or 2 of butter to come to room temperature, because hard butter is just like hard time. Don't do it. So anyway, while this is whipping, make sure you like and subscribe, and keep on sharing, and keep on commenting, because I love hearing from you and giving me ideas on what to make. So let's scrape down our bowl. And see, it's getting to be a fluffy yellow. So we want to go a little bit more, because that helps the butter and sugar kind of emulsify, and which allows the sugar to and butter to kind of soak in together and whip up. It has to do with the flakiness of the end product. You gotta have your butter whipped. So you gotta whip it good. And then the next ingredient is, for a single batch, would be a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So we have a full teaspoon of vanilla. So that's going to go in once this is done. And then for a single batch, we would have 2 cups of flour. So for a double, we're going to put in 4 after we have all the liquids together. And then we have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which here you see a 1/2 teaspoon for a double batch. So I think this is about ready. So let me go ahead and add the teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm going to stop this and then scrape it down. So see, it's just kind of a nice pale yellow color. Alright. And this recipe is pretty much akin to shortbread, which is why we have all this butter and not an extreme amount of sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and put the salt in. Then we're going to put in the flour. So just do it little by little. Each time you put it in, let it absorb. I have a pair of brown eyes just staring at me, watching this mix. That measuring cup wasn't cutting it, so I'm going to use this little spoon. You can see the little flour wafting up. And then after this is all blended, we're going to put in the walnuts, which for a single batch is 2 cups of chopped walnuts. For a double batch is going to be 4.
And you're just adding it a little bit at a time.
Yeah, because even with the little bit, it's still getting a kickback to where it's flying up. So, alright, now that we're about halfway through our flour, I'm going to scrape the bowl down. See, it's starting getting a little pasty. So we're going to go ahead and keep on adding the flour, and we'll bring you back when we're ready to add the walnuts. So, we've got the dough all mixed, and this is the easiest way to clean off the paddle, is just spin it out a little bit. And then I usually just unhook the beater or paddle. Alright, let me get a scraper to clean off this. Doesn't that look yummy?
It does.
Alright. So I'm going to scrape off this into the bowl. Then I'm going to add the nuts by hand and stir. Alright. This is a very stiff dough once you add in all the nuts. Alright. I'm going to call that good. I'll put it on top of the butter wrapper so it stays clean. Okay. So, this is a nice mixing tool because it's got a little bit of heft to it. So, this bowl is 2 cups of nuts. So, if you're making a double batch as I am, you're going to do that twice over. So, a total of 4 cups of nuts. And as I like to tease the kids, I have a nut bucket in the kitchen. Because when we get the nuts in bulk, I pick through them to make sure there's nothing in there that shouldn't be. Like shell bits or membranes from the walnuts. And then I put them in the bucket when they're ready to be chopped. So we have a nut bucket in the kitchen next to our flour bucket. And you know what? I think I need a different tool for this, so I'm going to use my handy dandy mixing tool. So, see, it's coming together, and I have a greasy counter from the butter wrapper, so I'm kind of like trying to hold on to this thing while mixing it. So, the way that we process this dough is similar to a snickerdoodle, in that once we have it all mixed, we are going to scoop it onto a pan. Then we are going to roll it into balls and place it on the baking sheet, which I've already prepared with parchment. Alright, oi! It's a very stiff dough. Alright, I think that's good. Doop, doop, doop. Scrape it off, scrape it off. And the nice thing about this, it has no eggs. So it's slightly less hazardous to eat cookie dough raw. So I'm going to put my cookbook aside for now. Actually, you know what? I need to know the cooking time. 13 to 15 minutes at 325. So I'm going to take this sheet pan and my scoop, and for the time being I am going to just scoop out the dough, and I'm going to scoop it all as much as it will fit. Then once I'm done with that, I will roll it into balls. So while I scoop away, make sure you like and subscribe and leave us a comment and keep on sharing, and we'll be back in a few. So now I've scooped out all the dough. That made 60 cookies. And the next thing I'm going to do is roll them out. Roll them into balls. So the easiest thing to do is just to do it all at once. Just do the whole tray into balls. They come out more like flying saucers because I can't roll an even ball, but close enough. Dahlia's like, what are you talking about? So we're going to go ahead and roll these all out. And then when they're all rolled out, I'm going to put them on my baking sheets. I've got parchment on these. They're all the same size, so I just cut off 3 pieces of parchment at the same time. So, anyway, that. So I usually just stage my cookie sheets like this, because in that way I'm just going to load one up, put it in the oven, load another one up, put it in the oven. So we're going to keep on rolling, and then we'll let you know when we have our sheets ready to go in the oven. Alright, and the snowballs have baked for 13 minutes, and I think they need a couple more, because it said 13 to 15 minutes, so I'm going to let them cook for just a couple more minutes. So that way people know that sometimes you have to let them cook.
Yeah.
So again, I just have a total of 60 cookies, so I made 3 sheets of 20 because they're not going to spread. So anyway, we'll show you the cooked cookies momentarily.
Yep.
So here they are, fresh out of the oven, 15 minutes. So I'm going to set those down, and I'm going to put these sheets in the oven so they can bake. Alright. So, like our Nightmare Before Christmas mitts.
Yep.
Alright, I'm going to set that for 15. And then we're going to pause for just a sec while I get the powdered sugar out. And then we're going to cover these in powdered sugar. Alright, now we're going to douse these in powdered sugar. Doop doop doo. And you know what I was just thinking?
Huh.
The better way to go about this would be to roll them in a bowl.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought you were going to do.
So hold that thought.
I will.
Alright. There. Work smarter, not harder.
Uh-huh.
Alright. So, back over here. And I had tongs. So I'm going to let them... They'll absorb more powdered sugar.
Keep going.
Because technically they cool for a couple minutes before you cover them in powdered sugar. Just gonna roll them around, get them covered in powdered sugar. So that's what you're looking for, is a complete coating of powdered sugar.
Okay.
So I'm gonna finish the rest of these, and then we'll bring you back for a taste test. So we have our walnut snowballs successfully doused in powdered sugar.
Okay.
And ideally, you should let them cool off for just a few minutes, or else the powdered sugar will absorb right away. So, anyway, I guess I'll see how this batch turned out. It's a very flaky shortbread texture cookie with nice crisp walnuts. So we will post a recipe card with this video so you can make some of these for your upcoming holiday parties. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave us a comment and come back again for another recipe.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.